On that long. To
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Is everyone's speakers on? Yes. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call?
Commissioner Mazzoni,
here.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Here.
Commissioner Palmer,
Here.
Commissioner Parham,
Present.
and Chair Zinda.
Here. Let's just ask, does anyone feel like they have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda tonight?
I think there's only one.
Yeah, with
None.
No.
the item on the agenda tonight?
No, not for me. I'm good.
I think before we go to the staff report, I'll ask, is there anyone here who wishes to make any commentary on a non-agenda item tonight? No? Then at that point, I would like to see what our staff report is.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Zinda, Commissioner
Could be.
Zinda, yeah. Anyway, this is a use permit. We're getting familiar with use permits for storage containers, perhaps. They're really easy. The law is pretty straightforward. This site we're seeing develops little by little. The first permit was for a mobile truck repair, like headquarters for, a spot, because most of the work is done out on the road, and occasional storage area for people to get off the road, and it's perfectly suited for that site. Then we approved a fence around the place. The fence wasn't the kind that you could not see through. It was, see-through fence. So now the applicant has placed a prefabricated storage container on the property. Unfortunately, did it before getting the permit. So we really didn't have much say in the placement, or maybe you do, but as you can see, I didn't really write up much on this one. I just wanted to let the law stand for itself. Last time I kind of put conditions of approval on there that I just pretty much took out of the law. And this time I'm just going to give you the law. And my recommendation is, if you can make the findings required for this use permit, you can go ahead and approve it. It's also exempt from California Environmental Quality Act because it's basically an accessory structure pertinent to the use on site. But out of all these conditions that you can place a trailer, these kind of things, I bolded out the ones that have words like must or shall. And first of all, it must be oriented to minimize their being seen from the public right-of-way. In no case shall storage containers be placed so as to cover, block, or otherwise impact required parking. I basically have to make these clear so you guys can maybe discuss it and say, hey, even though it's just placed right out in the middle of there, this site is the way it is, and you have to still support the finding that it's consistent with the municipal code. So, and also the next one that I've bolded, storage containers shall be entirely screened by a solid fence or a wall or fence as approved in the use permit with the minimum height, or in lieu of such wall or fence, painted the color of the primary structure as conditions by the use permit. So those are 2 points of the law that you guys probably should discuss before you can support the findings, if you do plan on approving this. I did bold one other section here. It says the storage container shall not exceed the height of 10 feet. The only reason I bolded that is because there was no indication of the dimensions or height of the storage structure. I assume 10 feet It's probably 9 feet. How tall are these things? I'm not really sure, but, okay. It says 10 feet here, so we just have to confirm that to make sure that it's consistent.
10 foot, 13, 2 inches tall.
Yeah, yeah, we don't, yeah, it's not bad. So the only reason I'm pointing this out is because I want you guys to be able to support the findings you're supposed to make. Okay? So, the actual required findings for a use permit, and this is a modification of a use permit. It's basically, if he would have known that he wanted to put all this stuff on there, it probably would have been included in the original permit, and it would have been just fine. But the use that's consistent with the general plan and zoning code, that's what I just was talking about. We have to make sure it's, compliant. Is the site suitable for the proposed use? Yeah, we've made that finding before. Since this is kind of an accessory use to the primary use on site, we already did say that the primary use is suitable there, and this site is suitable for that. It's not next to anything, that could be in conflict with it. Again, that's what I just said, the use is compatible with the surroundings. I mean, we basically have couple metal buildings in the area. This is, and a fence there. It's kind of a industrial-looking spot. That's presently, you never know, someone might buy property nearby and build something, but that's kind of why we thought the whole thing was compatible in the first place, because there's really not much there. We got railroad, freeway, Caltrans, yeah. So, and it's not detrimental to the health, welfare, and safety of surrounding uses, and will not be injurious or detrimental to the property and improvements in the neighborhood or the general welfare of the city. That's about it. If you guys want to talk to the applicant about the placement and the color of the unit.
I have a question for you, though, Keith. It says here, though, it could be entirely screened or with a solid wall or fence.
Right.
Did you say that being where it's at, they wouldn't have to do that?
No, because
No, it
right, the
goes on.
very next thing, it says,
Okay.
in lieu of that,
Because it, yeah. okay.
yeah, and then it
Because I think
says
that
to
has
be
part
painted.
of it.
It has to be painted to match, if it's not going to be behind a solid wall. So if you wanted him to change that, you're going to have to put that as make sure we emphasize that.
Matches his red trim.
Well, that's up to you guys. I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay, does anyone have any, do the people in question care to come up and speak about their project and tell us what's in their minds?
Alrighty, thank you so much. I'm Jeremy Pearson, this is my wife Natasha, and we own Family Truck Repair. And I totally didn't mean to step on anybody's toes. Putting the container there, the fire came 3 yards from our back door, our house property, and we moved everything from the house to the shop as fast as possibly could, with the 97 being closed down. And that put everything on my shop floor, and I had no room. I already have 2 trucks in there working on them, and everything went on the shop floor. And then I thought, boy, everything that I've been buying for the last 5 years as in my inventory. So when truck drivers call me, I have brake chambers, tires, wheel seals, air lines, all that stuff. It's sitting in my old 1940s barn on the property, and the fire is 300 yards away. So I moved everything from my barn to the shop, and now the place looks like a tornado. I organized it fairly well, but you can barely walk like this if there's a truck in there. So
I'm sorry, but can you give us your name and address, please? Did you give that to us?
I
He
am
did,
family-
okay, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry. You got it.
we're 600 North Wheat Boulevard,
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
we live in
it's there.
Carrick.
Okay.
19024 Elm Way.
All right, got
The
it.
dozers came right through my back property to cut a line to the fire, right through my backyard. I thank God for an old backhoe that helped me keep my property safe. But the storage container is just for my overload of inventory. When I tear a truck apart, I need someplace to put the fenders, tires, brakes, that kind of stuff in there, because the racks that I had in the shop already were for that, but now they got my inventory on them. And I feel like it's more important to have my inventory inside the shop. So the storage container is for tires, stuff that we're taking off of vehicles to keep from looking like a boneyard. We do have a few parts there that need to be taken care of, and, but we basically are barely making it with the shop loan and the, obviously business expenses. So we really are trying our best to stay in business and make it professional looking. And we've been working really hard to do that. I think the container's pretty close to the Barnwood Red. If you squint and look 40 feet away and drive by 40 miles an hour, it's pretty close. If you want me to paint it, if you give us a little bit of time, we can do it. The reason why it's placed there is because the door's open towards the shop. I do have cameras all around the shop, 24-hour surveillance. The camera's pointed right at that front door. It could go closer to Caltrans property, but I know we don't want to be any closer than 10 feet from the fence. So it's right there. The septic system or the leach field is right behind that. So I placed it right there, trying to do the best I could. If a vehicle did have to get around to do any septic work or get to the back of the shop, you still have 10 feet to drive to get back there. So I did not mean to just slap it there instantaneously, but the fire, we were mandatory evacuated due to family truck repair. The cops kind of let me through because I was fixing some of those fire trucks up there in the water trucks, and I didn't mean to. I wanted this to last, be able to do this in a year or two. I talked to the lady about getting container permit because I had a gentleman that wanted to lease out the back chunk of property to like put horse containers and beautiful, best containers you ever seen in your life. I thought that was going to be like December, maybe January. So I didn't get on the agenda to talk to you guys about that. The container just was like, I need someplace for my stuff besides the shop floor. We came in, we applied for it the day before. The next day the container was there. I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes or upset anybody about it.
What time, when did the container get put on the property? Do you have a date for that?
The fire was 4 days going, and it was right on our back 40. I believe I could send a picture. I got a picture on the phone.
Just right around when the fire started.
Oh, 5 days. It was 4 days burning in the backyard. The wind shifted. We were already loading stuff out of the house. We took everything important out of the house, took it to the shop. And then next was, wow, I can't buy 5 years of inventory if the fire hits my barn. That's where I'd been stocking all my inventory for the big rigs for the last 5 years. And I couldn't let all that go up in flames, so I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes. I just got that money out of there before China got it, or however you say it. Sorry. Everything I buy, yeah. The fire, sorry, dude. I don't speak English. I try my best.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So do you plan on putting more than one container on that eventually?
No, I don't
or
have
you
that
just-
much stuff.
Okay.
No, that's 40 foot. I'm talking just tires and fenders and a couple racks and just stuff to get
Okay.
stuff out of there. I'd love to figure out some way to make money off that back chunk of property. And that's what we were talking about, the fancy containers and all that stuff. We were just gonna do that, talk to you guys about it in December or January, but the gentleman found a place in Wairika that's a little bit more accessible, so that kind of backfired.
I went by there the other day and I, the fence looks good, it's clean, everything. But do you have another fence that's kind of up there? It's a makeshift one. It has barbed wire kind of hanging out on
That's
that?
been there since 1974.
That's been there the whole time?
I don't know whose fence that is. I'm assuming, depending on
It's
who
like
you,
right on the road.
depending who you ask,
I thought that
that's
was part of your
Caltrans's
property.
property, or
Right
if
in
it's-
front of your shop?
if it's mine, I would love to be able to let my customers park there, but Les Schwab gets to park there. People drop their cars off there in the middle of the night. Brian gets to tow them off of there.
You
They
don't
break the
have that?
windows out of it. If it's that's a fine line, because Caltrans, if I'm out there doing anything, they own my power line. I put the power pole up, but apparently they own the property. It's a real fine line. I wish I knew who's.
Well, I'm gonna find out, because
if
that
it's-
looks pretty, honestly, it looks bad. It's hanging down, it looks,
When the power
Like, it could
company
be a
come in,
hazard.
they took that down, you know, and to put in my power pole.
okay,
And Les Schwab parks there every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. They got this big company, I'm small dude, every day, and pee and poop and all that other stuff there. So if it's my property, like we were talking about the property line, I would love to be able to tell them to hit the road every Friday morning, but the cops tell me,
Not, it's your right-of-way property.
So the barbed
So-
wire is.
yeah, but that barbed wire, it's, so we get a hold of Caltrans, is that who I would call?
So the barbed wire is not on your property?
No, no.
So it's the
Okay.
one before.
it's put it up years ago. If you're asking me to get it off there to make everybody, I'll yard it out of there. You know,
We don't want you to get in trouble
I'd
with
tell you to
neighbors.
yard
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't know where the line is with Caltrans, and I put the family truck repair, no parking, customer only signs, you know, on my property line. But then
Right.
Caltrans tells me, and the cops tell me that
Well,
I
that
can't do
probably
anything about it.
stops them from parking somewhat on there, but it's, looks like crap, excuse me.
yeah, I would love if somebody would
Just
put a
hanging
no
down.
U-turn sign right
I'm
there,
gonna call
because
Caltrans myself, I'll email.
there's the
Yeah.
worst accidents
bad.
you've ever seen locking up right in front of my shop because people want to do a U-turn right there. And it's extremely dangerous all day long. We're like, so, like I said, I'll yard that stuff out of there if you are asking me to do that, you know.
I'm not, I thought it was yours, I was rid of it, but
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, I'll get a hold of Caltrans.
And also, another question I was asking about
know.
Caltrans is,
I don't know.
you know, our property lines, you know, you're supposed to defend 20 feet on each side of your property
Goes right
line,
to
your
the-
fencing. That back chunk of property there that Caltrans owns, you know, I was going by there and cutting some brush to defend my property line if the fire comes through there. And Caltrans says they're gonna sue me if I bring the backhoe in there, or, so I would love, if you're gonna talk to Caltrans, like a defendable space between, that's their fence, that back on the highway. Now, I'm sure if it was my property and the neighbor was like, JP, dude, your buck breath in Brian's yard, I would have to defend my 20 feet on this side of the fence. So if a fire comes through there, like we just dealt with the house property, the fire comes down that, it's gonna drop. You know, it's, the pine trees are, the fence is right here, the pine trees are hanging over. You know, fire comes in there, I asked them about it, like, could I go and they told me, get off my property, and, Mr. Pearson,
Yeah.
I already dealt with the lawyers from Caltrans about the K-rails, and they told me, Mr. Pearson, you'll go broke before you ever see a court date.
Absolutely correct, you will.
Yeah, I'm already broke. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can feed my kids, but so if we could, I believe the fire chief already sent a letter into Caltrans for me. Went back there and looked because the squatters are living back there, the gentleman that's begging on the corner. Was squatting back there for 3 days, but K-Love got him out of there to the other side. But it's like a not, you know, I'd prefer my place not to burn down if a fire does come through, so
Hopefully it doesn't, it's a metal building.
they said to all of them in Reading that lived. But still kind of scorched sides over there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that the fire chief is going to address the vagrancy and fire issues around your property line. I'm curious to hear what the commissioner's thoughts are on the storage container.
I'm very disappointed that it happened the way it did. However, that doesn't change the fact that you really do need that storage. I see that you've already got a boneyard started, and I know you want to keep control of that. So, I just, you know, we've been behind you and supporting you from the start. So, you know, it's naturally a little disappointing to have this happen this way. And yet, because I have your story now, I do understand more. And that fire had everybody making some quick decisions. So, so I feel like it's consistent.
Could I get some clarification? Just for the application purposes, is your unit less than 10 feet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 8 foot.
All right. And secondly, you said that you're willing to dress it up if need be. Would you be willing to paint it the primary color of the building versus the red that's there?
Kind of like the Barnwood red.
The intent, as I understand it, of this ordinance is for the primary building and the primary color of the building, not necessarily the trim color.
Either that or the alternative is to put a fence around it, a solid fence.
Right.
If I could get a little bit of time, like, let it cool off a little bit. I don't want to be painting something when it's 100 degrees out there. If that's what it takes to keep it, I'll paint it tan and do the red stripe down the bottom to match the property.
That would look really good, because right
tan-
now it just looks rusty.
Yeah, I wish I could have bought the $12,000 one. I could only buy the $9,000 one. I had a choice of colors. I went with the brown instead of blue, to kind of match a little bit, closer to it, so I wouldn't offend quite as many people.
Well, that's,
So-
actually, that doesn't really matter, because the law does just say it has to match the primary color. So if it would
If I could
arrive,
get
if
90
they,
days-
if it would arrived here blue, you still would have had to paint it.
If I could
Either
get-
that or you put a fence around it. It's
If I could get
bottom
90
line.
days to save up a little bit of money, I'm kind of bouncing off of zero a few
Fine
too
with
many
that, yeah.
times, 90 days, I'm sure I could, do I have to do all 4 sides or just that front side?
I would think all 4 sides of it would be appropriate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It has to go with, it has to go that way because someone else puts it, it's gonna come back to bite you
Okay,
anyway.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
Like I said, if
I'm
I
so
could
good
have-
with
You
giving
guys
time.
are emphasizing that, the
good.
condition, that part of the law about
Screening.
screening or painting the color shall be meeting, because really, that's how it is. I mean, there's really not that much
Commissioner Nicholson,
negotiation when it's right in the law and it says shall.
Yeah,
As far as placement is concerned, it does seem like a logical place to have it.
Yeah, I'm
It
good with
doesn't
that.
impede
Yeah, not a
traffic.
bad spot.
I understand why you had to do that, and
Like I said, I was hoping each year I've been going along, is getting a little bit of money ahead and then making progress. I didn't plan on that, having to come up quite so fast. Baby steps to keep it from being Tri-County Bank's property, is my main objective, to make money for family truck repair and keep my kids not on welfare, so I appreciate your guys' 90 days and we'll get it fixed up the best we can once I get a little bit.
3 months, is that enough for you?
Yeah, I'm sure I could, Mama's the one doing the books. Yeah. We kind of already talked about it before we came in here, if we had to beautify it, 90 days.
Well, your place looks good, so just keep it with the standard that you've already set. So that's why I'm looking at it.
Well, thank you.
It does, it looks good. It's nice and clean in there, it does. You guys have done a good job. I wish you nothing but success,
Yeah, and control your baby boneyard.
But it looks good, so just keep everything going.
I
Because obviously we supported you on everything that you,
And I thank you guys all for that, and I was planning on buying a
Thank you.
trailer to get some of that trash out of there, or that stuff out of there before I had to buy the container. I'd love a nice dump trailer, or something like that.
that'll come in time.
Yeah,
The Brian will give you one.
yeah,
I just bought all Clements.
You did, you
I need I don't know if I could get a little box to put the metal in.
I'd be happy to bring you a box. I just bought all Clements waste disposal boxes.
You did?
Yep. You gonna make it painted?
You got one that's tan? Oh,
Okay.
Actually, yes.
Brian can paint
Yes,
it.
I do.
that way you could come and pick it up, you
That's
could
not
have
a
the money. Yeah,
I got blue ones, tan ones, and green ones.
I don't know if we can do that, but.
I have to say, I drive by your facility at least twice a day. 5, 6 days a week. I'm very impressed, not just that you're keeping your business here local and supporting the community and your customers with that, but that you've met the projects as far as, you know, the building went up great, the fencing looks great. I know fencing is nothing but cheap because I had to do mine after the fire. And I appreciate the fact that you're thinking of all these things while investing in a business, investing in weed. And so I just share everyone's thoughts that we wish you guys the best and hope that you find a good rental purpose for the rest of that property, you know, and kind of little bit of a break between yourself and Caltrans there. If there's no other discussion, I would make a motion that we accept the permitting with the condition that there's a beautification, either paint or a wall within 120 days to meet the code of the law.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 You have it.
Thank you so much. We're proud to be
you.
here in Weed. And,
Why do you go for a sale sign out there?
I'm thinking 6 million, because after, Forrest Gump said after the
Oh.
first 3, the rest is just for showing off. No, I know.
So I'll need to amend that to include the exemption for CEQA.
Oh, yeah.
Adopt the exemption, my apologies.
Okay.
And I'm really trying to keep Caltrans from removing the K-rails, you know, so they don't bash the fence that expensive, pretty fence that Motel 6 wants to hang their laundry on.
90.
You roll by and it's pretty, I told them the goats are gonna eat it, but Laverne and Shirley ran out of food on the property, so they went back home. They'll be back, you know, in a while, but Laverne and Shirley, because all their Shirley out there whining, no.
Yes, there's a lot of that going around now, I know.
So if Caltrans comes in and puts a fence up, you know, across their property, I could put a gate in. If they move those Caltrans, then I could put a gate in there, those K-rails, I could put a gate in and make a little loop for the big rigs instead of having to back out or turn around there on the property. It's kind of a chess game. You know, we've been finding out, so if they move the
Caltrans
K,
probably won't let you.
I know if I have to put a gate out there on the highway, if I put a swing on that side, then it's like a chess.
It's
All
not
in the
chess,
future.
then shoots and ladders, you know.
That's right. Hopefully they keep the K-rails, but I don't plan on selling the place unless it's, like you said, for showing off money.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
So I think we'll need a second and approve the amendment for the CEQA adoption.
Okay. All those, I second the motion. Okay. Do we need to vote on it?
Yes.
All
yes.
those approve the amendment to
Yay.
the ayes have it. Okay.
Make
So,
sure we're above board.
Please, yes.
Why not, wait, excuse me, I need some clarification. Is it, are they getting it 90 days? or
120.
20 days?
That's fine.
Didn't we say 90?
I threw 120 in the motion that you guys have voted on.
We voted on it.
See how
He
that
did
worked
it.
there?
The first one was 90.
Yeah,
Get a penny for that.
Yeah,
Saying though,
he
so
did it. It's his fault.
Give them a little extra.
just making sure you guys are paying attention.
I paid attention.
We weren't, obviously.
I got it, but they kept talking.
It's okay. I think they'll do it.
Oh, I think you'll do it
No,
long.
I know that. I know they'll do it. We don't want to slide anything in there though without we're saying this and that.
Well, as long as we're having a chat here, do any of the commissioners have any reports?
Get cold.
What should be,
Yeah, I wish it would rain.
I'm glad they're finally doing the concrete thing.
That's exciting.
So they're actually going to start construction then? No. Still?
Still in court, huh? Yeah,
Well, hopefully by the time they get that resolved, they'll have employable people available. So,
Love's just built one down by Corning. Pilot gave the farmers a bunch of money to fight Love. Now, this goes back and when Pilot was building next to Love, Love gave money to the other people to fight Pilot. It's a war going on.
Yeah, we heard Love's full application.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And Love's,
Anywhere.
went ahead and did wait for their court to finish in Corning, they built it. Maintenance Corp went in, put in their pumps and everything, 48 days later, Love's was there. It's that fast. They have their own construction crew.
Yeah, that's why I'm continually surprised by its absence, because I know how quick those can happen, but it's that court thing, yeah.
Well, we can definitely use more businesses in the city of Wheat.
You know, I understand that there's a gate at the foot of Sugar Pine right now. I heard, you know, the neighborhood thing, that they put some kind of gate up, is it, you know?
That's due to the traffic on.
Right,
For the road blockage.
Oh, the actual traffic from the road.
Right, I
People
heard
get
that,
lost.
I
That's where
heard
they
that,
always go use.
yeah, I heard that some of the locals did it, like for out there. So I went that way and brought my bolt cutters, like I'm cutting this freaking lock off of here, because they don't own that road.
If you got 3,700 cars going over, they maintain their own road.
I mean, if they have 1 million cars going through there.
I just was,
Yeah, they grade their own road. If it
Yeah.
was like-
I think there is
That
a.
part what they were doing is Tucci's.
The owner of the guy that, not the, he said that that's his road, he'll put a gate on it if they keep on bellying it.
That's correct.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Oh my gosh.
well, I had just heard that somebody had put a gate up, I can't say I blame
Going
them.
to do it.
What?
I heard he's going to do it. Once that thing goes up, he's gonna shut it
That's
off.
what-
Well, I think with the construction on the freeway, people.
If
are
this
getting
is, everyone needs to turn their mics on because we're not catching anything.
Oh, I don't think we're discussing it.
All right.
All right,
so-
what we need to do at this point is have approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which I believe we probably do. Everybody approve the minutes? no?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 21st minutes.
Second.
The motion is approved. Wait, we have to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. And at that point, we're all set. I make a motion to adjourn.
What news coming? What did we have new coming? Anything?
Nothing. That was it.
There's no more, nobody's planning to build nothing anytime soon?
We got some new businesses coming in on Main Street. but-
So now we have
Down by Pilot, you know,
a what?
a truck wash,
Oh, I know about that.
yeah,
At the truck wash place?
no.
Of course not.
No, an actually drive-through truck wash,